friend, through my bones a chill. Hear distant voices on the wooded hill. They're calling my name, I hear yours as well. They're beckoning souls to the bottomless well. They're bringing us down the bottomless well. Ancient betrayers invading our skull. They'll steal our intention for their sacred show. And all who will follow, resist they shall. Join in the turmoil in the bottomless
Hello everybody, welcome to the Jebb and Greencast. Today we have the Fore N Aft Blast from the Past first episode with Rick Tedsco here of the Guitar Hanger in Brookfield, Danbury. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. So Rick, talk about the groups you've been in and a little bit of, we'll start with that. Yeah, so when did you start playing music? That's what we'll start with.
Well, geez, probably mid-'70s is when I kind of started taking it seriously.
Oh, that's awesome. So how old were you then?
About maybe 13, 14 is when I really started. I had a guitar back when I was like, 8 or 9 probably, but I didn't start taking it like really seriously till about '74.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so what groups have you been in with?
Well, if we're talking about the Fore N Aft, I used to play, maybe 1980 to 82 or
Oh, that's
83.
awesome.
I used to play at the Fore N Aft in Brewster in a band called Ransom. It was just a cover band back then, but
All right, cool.
that's my first Fore N Aft experience.
That's awesome, and it must have been really cool. So, what was the Fore and Aft like? You know, kind of describe the dive-in bar here of the Fore and Aft itself.
Well, it was kind of how would you put it? Just a really kind of cool hang. There wasn't any, it was kind of rustic inside. Wasn't, anything to look at, but it was just a place where the vibe was good. The music was always good. The bands were good. The crowd was always appreciative, and it was just fun.
That's
fun
awesome.
place to hang.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you've worked with the Alice Cooper guys in Billion Dollar Babies. How did that come about?
Well, I met Neil and Dennis back probably around 99, 2000, somewhere around there. I got introduced to them. Ian Hunter introduced me to them.
Oh, cool.
He was kind of sitting in while they were working on their a CD, their first CD that they were coming up with, and Ian was kind of sitting in and kind of giving them ideas for some of the songs they were writing, and they wanted to record their rehearsals, so Ian brought me along one day so that I could kind of set up the room and mic things up and just get it so that all they had to do was hit record, and they could record their rehearsals and kind of be able to go through, after the fact, listen back. So that's kind of how I met those guys. And then Dennis and I started working together a few years after that when I had my own studio that I had set up. And I invited those guys to, kind of come and so I could get the bugs out of my studio. But this was right around the time that BDS was, going by the wayside. And so I started up a band with Dennis. And that's kind of how that all started. And then, I just did some gigs when the whole band got together. Dennis brought me in as a guitar player, and we, so I played with Michael as well. And then I actually played with the whole band at Alice when they did when they were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Dennis brought me in to do background vocals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now that's incredible. That's got to be an experience trip for anyone. Like, holy.
Yeah, that was a good gig.
So you have talked with Alice too, then?
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
We worked. We worked out, what songs were going to be done for the Hall of Fame thing, and
that's awesome.
we rehearsed in I think Mount Vernon somewhere, some studio there. We rehearsed a couple of days, and then we went to I can't remember. I think it was the Waldorf. I want to say was where they actually
cool.
did the Hall of Fame show. So
that's really cool. No, it's just awesome because it's cool to bring back, because the reason why I wanted to do the Fore and Aft thing is to bring awareness to the festival in hopes that more people will be aware of it. Because the first one went really well, and the second one I thought went really well too. Was seeing you twice was awesome, and I had the jacket hanging out and everybody's signing the jacket, so I thought that was really cool.
Right. Yeah,
and I thought that was just awesome meeting everybody, and the fact that I got to meet Dennis and Michael Bruce, it was like a blown mind, because that's a small festival for Ives. And it's a big, cool deal. It brings Danbury into light, too. And all of a sudden, you got the Alice Cooper guys, who I grew up... Dennis is one of my idols in all time in bass. Like, one of the guys I really love listening to. And to just have a conversation with them was really cool. And it was awesome.
Yeah, Dennis is fun.
So, so like, for the first Fore and Aft Fest, how were you contacted to get involved in that and all that stuff?
Well, Michael and Julie, who were the two promoters, approached me... came into my shop, and they wanted to get me involved, and we went through a lot of different scenarios how I could be a part of it, but I ended up playing with just a bunch of friends. We just said, yeah, we should do this, so we put a band together, and we rehearsed an hour, and then we went and played.
And that's Jimmy Heslin too, right? Correct.
Yeah,
That was I forget what you guys were called. What was the name?
Witch Hunt.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. And then Jimmy got to play this year with Sapphire, which was the coolest thing, because my dad got me into all the Fore and Aft stuff. He was around when he was there. He used to actually go to school with Jimmy, and
Oh, okay.
he would sing the lyrics to Jimmy from the stage. If
Yeah.
Jimmy would go over, so Jimmy actually remembered him, which was awesome, and it was really made my dad's day and I was Jimmy's brother, the one that works with him at the shop, I believe. Was the one that brought me backstage the first one. So I got to meet everybody. Limelight, I met all of them, and I met some of the drummer from SATO and all that stuff. So it was a lot of cool guys. I mean, I met Richie Scarlett, which blew my mind. So it was really cool. It was just cool to have all those guys, and it's cool to see cover bands and then some originals like Rat Race Choir too, and it's stuff like that. And it's just amazing to meet all the guys. And I met Larry before he sadly passed, and it was really an amazing experience. So I just kind of think it's cool to keep it going if more traction and stuff to it and all that stuff. So it's just really cool. If you want to talk about the guitar hanger for a little bit too as well, that's more than welcome. Definitely.
Yeah, well, that's my shop. I started that in '99. Kind of began as really just an internet website where I sold like really high-end guitars, and it was a kind of a different scene than there is now. Now it's calmed down quite a bit. The whole industry's kind of shrunk.
Everything's kind of going digital now.
Yeah, but back then it was, there was a lot of guys that were collecting boutique-y high-end guitars, and I was kind of doing that. And then I eventually ended up opening up a storefront about 6 years ago. And, so now I do everything you would expect from any kind of music store. We do repairs and we do rentals for the school band stuff.
That's cool.
And we do, all instruments, not just guitars, so.
I'll be stopping by to say hi. My dad works in Danbury. He works actually on Federal Road, but the other side. So, yeah. So we'll be down there one time because I want to see those jams that you guys do. You guys do I know you did a Blues Brothers night or something. Do you just show up with the guitar and just play, or is that like a whole thing, or?
Yeah, we did basically one night a month. We would pick a night, and we would just set up a back line, and people would come and
that's awesome.
Bring their guitars and just kind of jam for the night. Yeah,
that's like the open mic that I was inviting you to. We actually got a gig there now, but the one I invited you to. The open mic is like a jam. You just show up, and the artist there says, "Play with us. Tell us what songs you're doing." And I think that's an awesome way to get young musicians involved, to feel what it's like to jam with other musicians, and you never know the connections you're going to make. So it's really cool that. Thank you for that, for doing that. It's awesome.
Well, it's hard now to it's not, the scene isn't what it used to be. I mean, it used to be such an alive thing that and everybody was playing in bands, and it was just now it's shrunk incredibly. There's only a couple of clubs that have live music around here, and
it's tough to find. And then when you want to find like the ones, I know like the Note in Bethel, it's very tough to get in. You have to be good, which makes sense. Hey, they want the bar to be booming when you're playing, but it's not like before, like again, like the '90s had the abundance of everything, and then you had like the 2000s kind of dying out, and then there's us who, like, I'm in a band trying just to start, and it's like really tough to go around and find a venue that's going to take us. So we're lucky enough that this band hooked up with us, and now we're lucky. So it's really cool.
Yeah. It's you just have to really do it for the love of doing it now. Back then you could actually make a living at it, but
now it's more like a hobby.
Not so much anymore.
What's the so out of all the experience you've had, what's probably about the coolest stage experience or even just jamming experience you've ever had with any of the bands you've been in?
Well, I mean we I'd have to say, again, the Alice Cooper induction was a pretty big highlight in my experience, but I've gotten to work with with all those guys, and I've gotten to work with Ian Hunter.
That's awesome.
So that's there's some good memories there too. I opened up for Alice at when I was playing with Dennis, which is kind of odd that Dennis would open up for Alice when that was kind of a awkward. Well, not awkward. It was just it was kind of different. Yeah, it was different. But we played. We went to Wilkes Bar. I got to play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the Rock Hall with Dennis. That was kind of another. That was another pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Pretty cool gig. Yeah, I've had a lot of really interesting, fun experiences. Over the years.
That is really cool because it's just cool to have that under the belt and to be able to go. That's my life. This is something I've done. Like it's awesome. And that's why it's great to have you on to share the story so other people can hear it and be like, wow, that guy's cool. But it's awesome. So Rick, tell us about your band Psycho Merchants.
So Psycho Merchants started with I was doing a gig with Carrie Ashton, who's this really incredible female artist that she kind of does rock to like the modern country sort of thing. And the drummer is a guy named Kevin Hupp, who's played with a lot of people. He's played with, he was in Rick Derringer's band for 10 years, and he's played with all those guys. And anyway, so him and I kind of hit it off, and we just started a kind of a recording project, the two of us. And we did an album, we did some shows. We're working on a second one now. We got a bunch of songs in the can. It's just it's kind of my writing. He's like my writing partner and just all around bud.
That is really cool.
Yeah. We opened up for Kansas at the Ridgefield Playhouse.
Really?
We opened up for Southside Johnny, and did a few other gigs.
Oh, that's really cool because it's keeping it going, and you got the experience under your belt. I mean, you're an insane guitarist. Yeah. I enjoyed every moment of I was singing every single Alice Cooper song when you guys did the $1 Billion Baby stuff, and it's just cool. Michael Bruce with his cape, it looked like looking like Brian May. Got that whole Queen feel too, but it is Alice Cooper, and it's just cool to have that feeling of and it was cool just standing in line meeting everybody, and you came back out, and I was like, oh, there's Rick.
Yeah,
so it was just cool, man, and it must have been really fun to have that all back again for the festival, and to have that feeling back of just we're on stage again, all of us, and there's literally Rock and Roll Hall of Famers standing on the Ives concert stage, Well,
yeah, it's awesome. Always a treat playing with those guys. It comes up every couple of years. Some opportunity comes up, and we work together. Right now, I'm in the middle of working with Neil. We're doing a Killsmith record. So he's got this kind of project that he does. It's his solo thing, but he calls it Killsmith, and he's working on, I think it's the 4th record. It's called Killsmith Goes West.
Well, check that out, guys. We'll put a link down below so you guys can find that too, if for all the Killsmith stuff, if we can.
Yeah. And so we're working out the songs now, and so that's kind of one of the projects I have going on right at the moment.
Oh, that's awesome, and it keeps you busy, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it's at this stage of the game, it's all about just am I enjoying this? And that's really all there is. If you're not enjoying it, because it's not it's not like, again, it's not about money, it's not about anything. It's just about being creative and enjoying the
and that's what we strive for on the podcast here too. We don't make any money from the podcast. We want to just talk with artists and have a conversation as if we're hanging out at either you go in your home and have a nice around the camp, a fireplace, talking music. And it's just nice to have that idea. So we do the same thing just to try to we get artists on, and including now I'm loving doing this Fore N Aft series. It's the first episode, but I think this would be a cool thing. So I think a lot of people like Dan's Garage or bands like that, even Future Tense, stuff like that, they might be really interested in this because they might be able to have the whole band talk and stuff and all that. So it's really cool. So
all of those guys at one point or another. I mean, Future Tense back when the Aft was around was called Cut Loose.
Oh, really?
Band. And I actually played in the band back then, so I think I played the Aft with Cut Loose as well. If I remember
Mike is awesome. He's gonna try to make it to the gig too for the Sane Riot that we're doing, which I think is incredible. It's incredible that these guys give back, even though it's just cool that a kid like me is able to talk to all these guys, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that played the Aft. I mean, Twisted Sister played the Aft.
Yeah, that's right.
Good Rats played the Aft.
Fast Fingers too, I think, was one of them too.
Oh yeah.
I would love to get them to, if they're still around, any of them to play the festival if it happens again. Because my dad was like, what I want to see is Fast Fingers and Sapphire were the two major big ones.
Yeah.
And then of course with other bands like Rat Race Choir was amazing. And I actually knew the drummer Adam because he subbed in a day. The new drummer, he subbed in a day at my high school as a choir teacher, and it was really cool.
Adam worked for me as a teacher for a little while.
Oh, cool.
I know Adam.
So you teach guitar lessons too and all that, right?
Yeah, we do lessons.
That's awesome. Yeah, as everybody's looking for lessons, I might actually stop down for that as well. Gotta save up some money, but I definitely be down because I got what I self-taught, but there's things I really want to learn, and I want to learn better solo and technique and stuff like that. So I will definitely be in for that.
Yeah, there's always stuff you can learn.
Of course.
You can learn from anybody. There's always something you can pick up and get better at, for sure.
Of course. So we're gonna play Bottomless Well at the beginning of this episode. So people that this is just timing. You guys have heard the song already. Want to talk about that song for a little bit?
So Bottomless Well actually started out as a Dennis Dunaway project song.
Oh, wow.
I kind of came up with most of the music, but we worked some, back then the process was somebody would bring a song in, and then we would just kind of all play through it. And if somebody had an idea, it would be cool, maybe if we go to this part here, or, we just kind of worked it out that way. And Dennis wrote the lyrics.
Oh, cool.
And Ed, who was the keyboard player, actually, I think, came up with the melody. And then, the Dennis Dunaway project just sort of fizzled out, and I was working on a solo record at the time, so I just included it in that and just finished it up, and I did the vocal on it and all that. So that's kind of how that song came about.
And then at the end, we're going to play Drowning, so if you want to explain that one as well, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, Drowning is a real, I really like that song. It's a song about loss.
Okay.
And it, basically, I had a friend of mine named Doug Wahlberg in the studio, and I was working on something else, and I had another song up, and I was doing some stuff to it, and Doug was sitting behind me, and he was just noodling around on a guitar, and he played these two chords back and forth a couple times, and I just went, "What's that? What is that?" And he goes, "I don't know, I'm just noodling." And I said, and I stopped everything because I had just written the lyrics to Drowning, and I needed something sort of melancholy and sort of emotional, and it was like those two chords back and forth. It just, a light bulb went off in my head, and we sat down and I just said, "Now play those two chords back and forth," and I sang a melody over it to the lyrics I had written, and we just finished it up right there, and it's a real like heart wrencher, and I just I like songs like that
definitely
like, really
Me
strike
too.
a chord with you,
And especially the metal scene, like there's those ballads that come out of nowhere, like like Gorky Park, which is Winds of Change for Scorpions. It's like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
And they're so good. So I'll definitely, you guys will hear this at the end of the episode, and I can't wait to hear. It's my first time hearing these as well. And it's really cool, and your version of Fireball is really cool too.
Fireball actually is the second song that ended up on an Alice Cooper record that I produced. And Fireball was Dennis's song, but again, like the process I described with Bottomless Well, he brought the song in, and we all kind of worked it out, and then again, I had basic tracks for it, and I really liked it, so I said, "Dennis, I know this is your song, but I kind of like to put it on my album." And he said, "Yeah, go ahead." So
that's awesome. Dennis is real cool.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting him the most, and Michael Bruce too, of course. They both signed the front of the Fore N Aft jacket, so that Fore N Aft jacket is going to be known.
Yeah, there you go.
You got the two signatures on the front, and then everybody that's anybody. And if there's bands out there that were at the festivals that haven't signed it yet, contact me, because I will. This is definitely something I want everybody to be like, the jacket full of signatures, and just keep it going. It'll be more famous than me.
There you go.
But it's cool, and talking with Dennis for the minutes I got to, and got to actually, he signed one of the like stub tickets for me, and I got Michael Bruce's book, so he just gave me the ticket. He was like, "Here you go." I was like, "Oh, you rock." But just to have talked to him and just be able to say like, and I wore my band T-shirt, and he was actually interested, which meant a ton to me. Because you could tell when like someone's actually interested in working, like what you're wearing and stuff. So it was really cool that he was like, "I really like your shirt," and he goes, I said, "Yeah, that's my band." He goes, "No one else," because I was gonna wear my Zappa shirt because I'm a huge Zappa head, and I know that they worked with Zappa and stuff too. So I'm reading Michael Bruce's book now. It's very interesting.
Zappa kind of gave them their first leg up,
which is really cool because, and Rick, if we ever do an episode on like Alice Cooper, we'll definitely have you on because I like to have like a panel of guests like on and talking about like one band. That's actually the goal of the Jebb and Green podcast. Get interviews in and then have them come back on to talk other bands. I actually have the first episode with the Posies, John and Ken, talking about the band Big Star, which I am a huge fan of, and so are they because they were in Big Star Third with REM's Mike Mills, and I think Peter Buck might have been. I'm not sure exactly. And there were some other guys like the guy from Semisonic. They all like a super group. of doing Big Star covers. So we'll definitely have you on for the Alice Cooper episode if we do get the Tents to do one, which would be awesome.
Cool.
And
Cool.
yeah, so but it was we'll play the song Drowning, and we should be all set. So it was great having you on.
Hey, thanks,
thank you very
man.
much.
All right, brother.
Miles below the surface, waves flowing over me. Too far down, too far gone. In the shadows, too dark to see. I'm drowning without you, holding my breath. I don't know what to do now. Everything means nothing, and nothing means everything without you. Seas of despair engulf my mind. Oceans of loss that need so unkind. To be beside you, where it's safe and warm. I just need